Breaking news today. NATO's role in countering Russia under Putin. The eastern border of the 31 allies needs to be strengthened, perhaps with nuclear weapons. The Ukrainian membership issue is more complex. NATO members will meet for the second time in July in Vilnius, following Russian President Vladimir Putin's genocidal war of aggression against Ukraine. This time there will be 31, thanks to Finland's response to Putin's aggression by joining the club. I don't know what they should do. Putin will be brought up in every conversation, threatening not only non-NATO countries like Ukraine or Moldova but also NATO allies like Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania as the neo-tsarist, imperialist, irredentist, and atavistic threat he represents. While some of the items on the Vilnius agenda may seem harmless at first glance, others present challenges that, depending on the outcome, could prove insurmountable. The Object No. 2 bomb shelter, located beneath Samara's massive Kubyshev Square, was under consideration as a museum by Russian tourism officials as recently as 2 years ago. The shelter from the 1940s, constructed on Stalin's orders about 40 meters underground with office furniture and other details from the pre-nuclear age, would have made a natural addition to the city's underground attractions if it had been preserved in its original design and decor. The city, which served as the Soviet Union's wartime reserve capital, is built atop a massive network of underground bunkers, of which Object No. 2 is believed to be the largest. Historian Igor Mokhtiv of Samara, who first visited the bunker in 2002, compared it to the so-called Stalin's bunker, which may already be the main attraction of Samara. In one photo, a seemingly endless corridor is filled with benches where hundreds of Soviet officials could wait out a possible chemical or nuclear attack. The electrical shielding, made of marble, is one of the original elements that has been kept. Thousands of Russian bomb shelters are being reviewed for refurbishment and renovation in the still unlikely, but for the time being unthinkable, case of missile strikes on the Russian heartland. This comes after the launch of the invasion of Ukraine and an order by Vladimir Putin to begin civil defense preparation in regions across the country. Samara's bunkers, which are believed to be the third most developed in Russia after Moscow and St. Petersburg, have attracted a cult following among the city's urban historians and diggers, who tunnel illegally under the city, and have inspired numerous urban legends. One was that Stalin dug a hole for Object No. 1 underground and completed it without anyone in the apartments on the upper floors noticing. Another is that former Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev escaped booing and tomato-throwing crowds by ducking through Object No. 2. Another theory postulated the existence of a hidden underground corridor linking several of the most important bomb shelters, some of which bore the names of Soviet leaders such as Stalin, Mikhail Kalinin, and Lavrenti Beria. The war in Ukraine has rekindled interest in the bunkers, despite their location more than 1,000 kilometers from Samara's border. Ekaterina, a tour guide leading a packed excursion through Object No. 1, the Stalin bunker, a bomb shelter built 36 meters underground in 1942 for the Kremlin High Command, says, people are much more interested in the bunkers. She clarified that the Russian government's Emergency Services Ministry is still in charge of the shelter's operations. Being underground is reminiscent of being trapped in a windowless, municipal building with peeling paint and wood-paneled conference rooms and offices. The fascination with such buildings seems universal. More and more consideration is being given to them. They're planning for safety in the future. She said, we've had many times more people visiting, as 3 tours ran in tandem in the middle of February. In response to Putin's recent order to prepare for civil defense, a former city official and regional historian in Samara, the regional capital, told The Guardian that the much larger Kalinin bunker almost certainly would be considered. Local news outlet 63.ru also reported, the giant bomb shelter under Kubyshev Square will be prepared to protect the population. A local historian named Mokhtiv recounted being blown away by the scale of the structure after descending into the bomb shelter's communication shaft. He told The Guardian that it is more than 30 meters underground by elevator, and has an inconspicuous entrance in the courtyard of the theater, several transitions down the usual concrete stairs. According to him, the facility was outfitted for Red Army personnel and passes to a nearby military headquarters, where much of the technology was still functional at the time. I was very surprised that phones made obviously in the same years when the bunker was being built were working, he remarked. I was even able to dial in to the main office. But even back then, he saw signs of the building's age. He emphasized that, it has not gotten any better.